Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, our group Nilam Rimba will present about our project, which is Smart Home Math Learning System. Before that, I will introduce our team member, Muhammad Afiq bin Abdullah as our project manager, and me, Iskandar Afiq bin Samsul Kaha as system developer, Sheikh Anif Fahmi bin Sheikh Abu Bashar as system analyst, Muhammad Azfar bin Muhammad Yazid as our data scientist, and lastly, Mio Amir Fidaus bin Mio Ahmad Bustama as our system designer. Okay, moving on to our executive summary. Our company, Nilam Rimba, is developing a new and improved smart home math learning system for a home math therapy company. The current system is limited and our new system will have several new features, including video notes, online exam, quizzes and tests, attendance tracking, and automatic teacher salary calculation to make it more useful for both teacher and student. The goal of the new system is to improve upon the current system and make it more efficient.
House of Mind Excellence is a company that specializes in providing math therapy to students to help them excel in their math study. The company is based at Meru, Perak, and it has over 64 branches in Malaysia. The company runs a program called Therapy Mathematics, which focuses on preparing students for the current math curriculum from as young as 4 years old to 19 years old. The program is designed to help students achieve a better understanding of math and to build a strong foundation for their future study in the subject. Home is a center for mind development, and the company's goal is to help students achieve their full potential and excel in their math study. For current business process, it began with student registration, and then students' guardian need to book an interview session for student diagnostic. After that, student will be diagnosed to determine their level in mathematics, and then the student will know the level in mathematics according to diagnostic result. Next, student guardian need to assign an agreement and make payment. Then the company will assign student to their own tutor, and lastly, student will attend their class. The company objectives are to improve student understanding and performance in mathematical subject. Next, prepare students for their exam and achieve their academic goals and aspirations. And lastly, to provide a safe, supportive, and encouraging environment for learning so that they can catch up with their study. The company visions are to be recognized as a leading provider of quality education and support for students. Next, to empower students to achieve their full potential and excel in their studies. And lastly, to be a place where students can find the support they need to reach their academic goals. For company missions, the first mission is to provide high quality instruction and support to help students improve their understanding and performance in specific subject. And then to continuously improve and adapt to meet the changing need of students and society. There are some problems that we have found with their current system. First, the current system is difficult to use since many work-related tasks are still carried out manually. Second, the manual procedure used in the existing system has the deficiency of being prone to human mistake and disrupting an employee workflow. And the third, the current system is difficult to maintain because many work-related tasks are documented using Microsoft Excel. For example, tuition fees and teacher wages. Ways to counter the problems are to implement a computerized system in order to resolve all the issues. Next is to automate many of the manual tasks that the company currently perform, such as student registration and teacher diagnostic. And lastly, having data stored electronically also makes it easier to conduct studies and generate report on the performance and development of students. MOV. So for desired impact is operational because the proposed system will make tasks more efficient and effective, and it will be helpful for both student and staff. For the desired value of this project is to create a better system that can increase the productivity of both student and staff by allowing students to easily download any type of notes and enabling staff to easily track their wages by entering their hours of work into the system. For the appropriate metric, the proposed system is expected to increase the productivity of students and staff by 30%, and the time frame is within 1 year. To summarize this MOV, the desired outcome of the project is to create an efficient system that increases productivity of students and staff by 30% within 1 year by enabling easy access to note for students and tracking of staff hours.
Now, I will be discussing on the preliminary project requirement. In this section, I will discuss the functional and non-functional requirements for this project. There are 9 functional requirements that can be started here, including the homepage for general audience, the login page for student and staff, the registration page for the potential students, the student dashboard page for registered students, the scheduled class page for registered students to view their class schedule, the class page for registered students to view their work progress and take notes, the announcements page for tutors to make important announcements to their students, the discussion page for tutors and students to have a discussion among them, and lastly, the staff page for tutors to view the student listed under them, check attendance, and use a salary calculator. The product page of this project will be explained further on the product design section by Muhammad Firdaus. In the non-functional requirement section, we will outline 4 case items that are critical to the successful implementation of our proposed system. The new system is only used by home math therapy students and staff, not other groups. It will have a color scheme of red, green, white and purple to create a positive and inspiring atmosphere. The system must work for all students regardless of their needs to ensure everyone can participate. It will also show the location of company's branches in Malaysia to make it easy for staff to manage resources and track students. These requirements are important for the system to work well for home math therapy. Overall, these non-functional requirements are critical to the success of the proposed system and will ensure that it meets the needs of the home math therapy students and staff. Now we move on to work and resources requirements. So the stakeholders of this project who will participate in the process through both direct and indirect methods include students who are struggle, particularly in mathematics, second in businesses that rely on manual calculation, and lastly companies that are responsible for maintaining clients' records. Now we move on to the analysis on targets, markets, and existing competitors. For this section, we will be examining 3 companies, which is MC Plus, Barrier Online, and GoLearn, by looking at the programs and subjects that they offer, the qualification and experience of their teachers, the technology that they use for teaching, the facilities of their programs, and lastly, the cost of their services. All 3 companies offer a wide range of programs and subjects for primary and secondary students. These programs are designed to meet the needs of different age groups and academic level to ensure that students receive the necessary support and guidance to succeed in their studies. The companies require that all students have a minimum of 2 years of teaching experience in a specific subject area. This ensures that the tutors have a knowledge and skill to effectively teach and guide students in their area of expertise. Additionally, it ensures that tutors have sufficient experience in their subject areas to be able to adapt to the unique needs and learning style of each student. Furthermore, it guarantees that the company only employs tutors who have a proven track record of success in teaching and can provide high quality teaching. Next, MC Plus uses a combination of 2 technologies to facilitate their online classes and tutoring. They use Zoom as the primary platform for virtual meetings and the MC Plus application for additional course materials and resources. Barrier Online mainly use Zoom and Google Meet for their teaching, and GoLearn use various platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and WebEx for their online classes and tutoring service. This allows them to provide different options for students and teachers to connect and collaborate in real time, making the learning experience more interactive and engaging. And then MC Plus teaching structure is designed to be very flexible. offering students the option to attend 1 hour or 2 hours of class per week for a specific subject. In contrast, Barrier Online offers a more intensive approach with 1 hour of class every day for a full subject. GoLearn has a slightly different approach, offering 1 hour and a half of a class per week for a specific subject. This allows students to choose the teaching methods that are best suit their learning style and schedule. Each company offers a unique approach to online tutoring, providing students with a range of options to choose from. The pricing structure for the MC Plus programs includes three options. The normal package, which is priced at Rm49 per subject. The gold package, which is priced at 159 ringgit for all subjects. And the platinum package, which is priced at Rm199 for all subjects. In contrast, Barrier Online offers a comprehensive package for Rm80, and GoLearn offers individual subject for 30 ringgit each. This pricing option provide a range of choice for individuals to choose from, depending on their specific needs and budget constraints. The normal package is a cost-effective option for those who only needs to focus on one or two subjects, while the gold and platinum package provide comprehensive coverage for those who want to excel in all subjects. On the other hand, Barrier Online and Go Learning offer more affordable option for students who prefer to have all subjects in one package. Based on this analysis, parents can make an informed decision about which company is the best fit for their child education needs.
Budget estimate. Our budget have 4 periods, which is period 0 for the early start before the month. Period 1 is January, February, April and March. Period 2 is the other 4 months, and period 3 is the other 4 months. So for the management cost item, which is project manager, system developer, data scientist, system designer and system analyst, their wage is for will be only for period 0, which is before the start of the month. And the training session is 1590 for every period, and the material for the training session is which is 757 ringgit. For the software item, we buy Microsoft 365 package, which is 289 for only once and you get for lifetime. And we also buy the Microsoft SQL standard server, which is 3,970.88 cents. And we also buy each month a web hosting, which is hosting a web hosting, which cost us 100 for each 4 months, which mean only 25 ringgit for each month. So for the hardware, we buy PowerEdge T440 tower servers, which cost is 12,680 and 10 cent. And we also buy Lenovo iPad Gaming 3, which is 3,890 to do the work for our project. And the maintenance is maintenance preventive, which reduce risk and performance. We need to pay 3,500 for each period, and hardware maintenance, which is 3,500 for each period too. And continue for the maintenance, the software maintenance, we need to pay 5,000 for each period, and also for the network maintenance, which is 5,000. And for the utility cost, for the early before we start, we pay already 1,000. And for the each month, each period after that is also 1,000 ringgit for the utility cost. And for the marketing, we do a Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Twitter ads, which is Facebook ads cost for 160. We do it after our development for the period 1 is finished, and for the period 2, after we have almost half of the development, we continue with the ads, which cost 160 for period 2 and period 3. For Instagram, it's cost 143.36, and for Twitter ads cost RM 103 ringgit and 36 cents. And for the banner and poster, we make it after we finish for the period 2, which mean we only do for the period 3, because it almost our project almost complete, so we do banner and poster at that time. So the cost is 300 and 400. For the total cost for period 0 is 50,000 ringgit, 162.98 and for the period 1 30,447 ringgit, and for the period 2 is 30,853 ringgit and 72 cent, and for the last period is 31,553.72%, 0.72 ringgit, and for the total cost of project is 143,017 ringgit and 42 cent. For the NPV calculation, we got a positive number which is 23,067 ringgit and 35 cent. And for the our income profit for period 0, we got 27,605. For the period 1, 49,849.25 cent. And for the period 2, we got RM 54,626.64 cent, and for the period 3 is 60,320.65 cent. And for our payback period for the investment is 1.7 years, and for the ROI is 34.45%. Schedule estimate. For our schedule, for the first phase, we start with planning. For the planning, we have a duration for 4 weeks, and the first week we do a project meeting, which we assign role management and initialization of the project, and we also do a training period for the first week. And for the second week, we carry out the research for the project about the project, and for the other 2 week after that, we do a project charter. We make a project charter, and for the final week, we finish our projects. We deliver our project charter that have finished. And for the analysis phase, it takes us 4 weeks to do the analysis phase. And for the first week, we do a project meeting for the budget initialization, and we also do make budget approval and report. And for the second week, we identify the area of impact and the value of the project. And for the next week, we set and validate the time frame for us to achieving the MOV. And for the final week, we deliver the budget analysis and the business case that have finished. For the next phase, which is design, it takes us around 8 weeks to finish the design. And for the first week, we do a project meeting. We discuss and brainstorming about our design that we need with our stakeholder also. And after that week, we make a preliminary design, and it takes us around 2 weeks to finish it. And after we finish the preliminary design, we make the design layout, and it takes us around 3 weeks to finish the design layout. And after we finish the design layout, we get the approval of the design from our stakeholder, and we also update the report at the same week, update the report about the design and the outcome. And for the final week, we deliver the complete system design and concept to the stakeholder. And for the implementation, it takes us around 10 weeks to finish it. And for the first 5 weeks, we develop a system module, and at the same time, we also integrate the system module during the development stage. Next, after we have finished develop and integrate our system module, we perform an initial testing for 2 weeks. And after we finish it, we update the report for 1 week about the modules. And after that, the final week, we complete the development and deliver it to our stakeholder. For the next phase, which is system testing, the system testing takes us around 8 weeks to finish it. And for the first 4 weeks, we perform the system testing, and during at the same time, we also do a document about the error that we discover during the system testing. After we finish that, we address any error discovered for 2 weeks, and we brainstorming and do a problem solving to improve to correct our errors. And for the final week, we complete the system testing and deliver it to our stakeholder. For the next phase, which is marketing, we do the marketing for 8 weeks. And for the first week, we do a project meeting, and we brainstorming about how we want to digitalize our marketing. And for the next 2 weeks, we set up a marketing platform, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for the next week, for the final 5 week, we prepare the marketing content that we want to advertise through our ads. And for the next phase, which is maintenance, the maintenance take us for around 8 weeks to finish it. And for the first 5 weeks, we perform the system maintenance to make sure that the system is always maintained. And after that, we document the maintenance that we done for 2 weeks. After we complete the system maintenance for the final week, we deliver it to the stakeholder. And for the final phase, which is project handover, for it take around only 1 week to hand over the project. We hand over the complete system of our project to the stakeholder.
Now, I'll be moving on to the critical assumption, potential risk, and its constraints. The first critical assumption of this project is the technical, which are the company require the necessary technologies such as computers and internet access to be available and reliable for students and teachers. Second, the company also needs to ensure that the curriculum and teaching materials are up to date and appropriate for these students. Lastly, the company will have a reliable and secure online platform that can handle high level of traffic and user engagement. Second critical assumption is the resources, which are the companies has a sufficient pool of qualified teachers available to staff the center. Then, the company have a adequate space for accommodate the number of students. Lastly, the company has a necessary equipment and supplies to conduct classes. The last critical assumption is the funding, which are the company will be able to generate enough revenue to cover its expenses and generate a profit, and the company will be able to secure funding from investor or loans if necessary. The potential risk of this project would be: first, the company may not be able to attract the necessary funding to cover its operating costs. Second, the company may face competition from other online education provider, and that there may be issue with student engagement and retention. Lastly, the company also can be concerned if there are not enough teachers to accommodate all of the students. Constraints. The constraints of this project will be: first is technical, which is the constraints of limited technology infrastructure, such as insufficient bandwidth or unreliable internet connectivity, may hinder the ability of the company to provide a smooth and seamless education experience for the student. Second is resources. The constraints of limited resources, such as a shortage of qualified teachers or a lack of instructional materials, may impact the quality of education provided by the company. Lastly, funding. The constraint of limited funding, such as a lack of investment or grants, may limit the ability of the company to expand its offering or improve its services.
Onto our resources requirement in terms of work resources, project manager and team. The action to be taken is project manager should plan ahead and identify skilled and available project team members. Team should be ready to handle any obstacles. For the provider, we will provide by the company. In terms of cost resources, which is capital, the action to be taken is the cost resources must be used for a variety of purposes related to the project and do not merely contain the salary of the project team member. Specifically, the cost resources category contain all the tools and equipment that the team will employ throughout project execution. It is vital to discuss with project sponsor their expectation for the amount of money that will be spent and to help project sponsor in developing a realistic picture of the project cost flow. This is also will be provided by the company. Okay, next in terms of material resources, equipment for system development. The action to be taken is project manager may use asset already owned by the business, albeit they might need to budget for borrowing them or plan their use so that it does not interfere with another project. Provide the greatest material resources at an affordable cost to improve development quality while reducing unneeded access costs. And this is again will be provided by the company.
Let's move on to the project administration. First, we will discuss about communication plan of the project. So, a communication plan is important in project management to effectively regulate stakeholders and project teams. It outlines how and when information will be shared with team members and stakeholders and includes status updates, task related inquiries, and meeting information. The project manager is responsible for ensuring the communication plan runs smoothly and effectively. So the goal is to define and streamline team communications as much as possible. Let's look at the table that we have prepared. So we can see for the first row, the project team meeting, and the fourth row, which is board meeting. So the medium that we use either face-to-face or conference call via Google Meets. And this is for any agenda or meeting minutes. And the second one is stakeholders update. So the medium that we use is by conference call via Google Meets or email. So this is to update the project status. And lastly, for the project review, the medium that we use on a face-to-face. So this is to update the project status report and project schedule. So the communication plan is important in order to run the project management smoothly.
Next is Scope Management Plan. Scope Management Plan is a detailed document that outlines the process for defining, developing, monitoring, managing, and validating the scope of a project as a part of the overall project management plan. It is important that the technique for project scope management is clearly defined and well documented to ensure that the project stays on track and meets its objective. So for the project manager roles, the expectation and needs are defining the project scope and objective, developing the project schedule and budget, monitoring progress against the project scope and schedule, managing scope change through the change control process, communicating with stakeholder on the scope and schedule progress. Next, for system developer roles, the expectation and needs are identifying and documenting system requirement, developing and implementing software solution, testing and troubleshooting software to ensure it's meet the defined scope, communicating with project manager on progress and potential scope change. Next, for system analyst rules, the expectation and need are gathering and analyzing system requirement, identifying and documenting system scope, communicating with stakeholders to ensure that it aligns with the project scope, collaborating with the development team to ensure the system is developed according to the defined scope. For the data scientist role, the expectation and needs are collecting and analyzing data, developing and implementing data models, communicating with project manager on progress and potential scopes, ensuring the deliverables align with the defined project scope. And lastly, for system designer roles, the expectation and needs are understanding the project scope and objective, creating wireframe, mockup and user interface, communicating with stakeholders to ensure it aligns with the project scope, collaborating with the development team to ensure the system is developed according to the defined scope, identifying the potential scope change and communicating them to the project manager. Next is scope change control procedure. Scope change control is a critical component of project management because it ensures that any change to the project scope are identified, evaluated, and managed in a controlled manner. It helps to keep the project on track and ensure that the objectives and goals of the project are met. For the scope change control procedure process, it involves 5 processes, which are it start with identifying the scope change, next evaluate the scope change, and after that is a approval of the scope change, then implementation of the scope change, and lastly close the scope change.
Now I will be explaining about quality management plan. The Quality Management Plan (QMP) is a comprehensive document that outlines the guideline, step, and obligation for ensuring quality in a project or organization. It includes important elements such as quality policy statement, quality objective, procedure for ensuring and controlling quality, and the roles and responsibility of these project team members in relation to quality. The project teams relies on the QMP as a guide to implement quality management procedure and achieve quality objective. Typically, it is created at the beginning of a project and, and it is reviewed and updated as needed throughout the project progressions. In this section, I will be explaining about quality philosophy and principle, quality process, standard and metrics, quality assurance, and quality controls. For the quality philosophies and principle, the project will apply Deming's 14th point for management, which is a management philosophy and emphasize leadership, customer focus, and continuous improvement. Below are several points that emphasize the implementation of the philosophies. First is create vision and commitment. Second is adopt or learn the new philosophy. Third is prevention, not inspection. Fourth is improve constantly to improve quality and productivity. Fifth is institute leadership. Lastly is fact-based management. Next is the quality process standard and metrics. The company quality process standard and metrics are similar to those of a traditional tuition center, with a few factors to take into account. First is quality process. To ensure that its services and programs meet or exceed the expectation of students and parents, the company should have a well-defined quality procedure in place. Course correction, teachers' preparation, student assessment, and ongoing performance review should all be a part of these procedures. Second is quality standard. Based on the industry standards, student and parent needs, and the quality standards, the company should set a clear standard of quality of its services and programs. The quality of the online learning environment, student engagement, and teachers' responsiveness are a few examples of possible requirements. Third is online learning environment. To improve the learning process, the company should have a user-friendly, accessible, and software online learning environment that includes interactive tools. Lastly is data security, which is to provide student information and ensure compliances with laws. The company should have strong security measures. Quality assurance. The quality assurance for this project will be implementing a systematic approach to ensure that the company's programs and services meet or exceed the expectation of students, parents, and other stakeholders. First is to establish clear goals and objectives. The company should establish clear goals and objectives for its programs and services, and ensure that these align with the needs and expectations of students and parents. Second is to develop and implement policies and procedures. The company should develop policies and procedures for all aspects of its operation, including teachers' training and student assessment. This should be based on industry best practice and align with the company goals and objectives. Third is regularly assess and evaluate performance. The company should regularly assess and evaluate the performance of its programs and services using a variety of methods such as student assessment, survey, and focus groups. This data should be used to identify areas of improvement and track progress over time. Fourth is to communicate with stakeholders. The company should communicate regularly with students, parents, and other stakeholders to gather feedback and address any concern. Lastly, compliances with standards. The company should also ensure compliance with any relevant industry standards, such as accreditation from an recognized educational institute or certification from a professional organization. As a result, this approach helps to ensure that the company is providing high quality education and services to its students and meeting the needs and expectation of its customer. Quality control. Quality control for the company is the process of ensuring that the company programs and services meet or exceed established standard and specification. The following are some steps that the company can take to implement a quality control. First is to define quality standard. The company should establish clear quality standard for its programs and services based on the industry best practice and the needs and the expectation of student and parents. Second is implementation, inspection, and testing processes. The company should implement inspection and testing processes to ensure that its programs and services meet the established quality standard. This may include regular assessment of student performance, evaluation of teachers' performance, and inspection of learning environment. Third is monitor and measure performance. The company should monitor and measure performance using metrics such as student development, teachers' effectiveness, and customer satisfaction. This data should be used to identify areas of improvement and track progress over time. Fifth is to take correction action. Based on the data collected, the company should take corrective action to address any issue or non-conformities identified during the inspection and testing process. This may include providing additional training for teachers and maintaining adjustment to the learning environment. And lastly is to maintain records. The company should maintain records of all inspection and testing results, as well as any corrective action taken. These records should be reviewed regularly to ensure that the programs and services are consistently meeting or exceeding established quality standard.
Next is change management plan. Change management is important for organization effort. It refers to managing and implementing change in a controlled way to minimize negative effect on stakeholders. A change management plan is a document detailing procedure and techniques to manage and implement a specific change. It helps handle problems, get accurate feedbacks, and assess change. There are a few steps in the method for this organization while modifying the control process, such as step 1, determine to needs the for change. And reason for change can be external, market or regulatory change, or internal, shift in company or desire to increase efficiency. Step 2, project manager creates a strategy for implementing change and include specific goals, deadlines, and resources needed. And step 3, inform and provide training to relevant party, customer, employees, and stakeholder. Help minimize confusion and resistance to change and help them adjust to the new change. Moving on to step 4. Change requests and analysis must be reported to the project manager for evaluation. Next, step 5. Evaluate proposed change. Decide to approve or not based on evaluation. And lastly, step 6. After approval, update project documentation and convey change to project team and relevant parties.
Human resource plan. For a human resource, which is HR plan, is a document that outlines a company strategy for managing its employees. It covers topics such as hiring, training, retention, pays and benefit, employee relation, compliance, and future planning. And for the goal of the HR plan is to ensure that the company has the right employees with the necessary skills in the appropriate roles in order to achieve its overall business objective. For our first and the main role for the project, which is project management, the responsibility for the project management is to defining the project scope and the objective, developing project plan and schedule, tracking project progress, and making adjustments as necessary, communicating with stakeholders to keep them informed of the project status. And the skill that need is just a leadership skill, communication skill, planning and organization skill, and also problem solving skills. And for the next role, which is system developer, their responsibilities is they need to analyze the system requirement and determine the best solution. They also need to design and developing a new system, a new software system, or modifying a existing one. They also need to writing and maintaining the code that is efficient and well organized and easy to understand for the stakeholders. And finally, they also need to testing and debugging the software to ensure it meets the requirement and is free from errors. And for the skills, they just need a strong programming skills. They also need a strong analytical and problem solving skills. They also need a strong attention to a detail so that they can detect the errors. And they also need to understand of software development life cycles. For the next role, which is system analyst, they need to have a responsibility of analyzing and understanding the business process and requirement of the clients. They also need to developing and documenting the system specification. They also need to communicating with stakeholders and other team members to ensure that the solution for the project is meets their needs. And finally, they need to participate in testing and implementing a new system. For the skills that needed is just a technical knowledge, the understanding of project management methodologies, strong ability to document and present complex information, and also understanding of database such as MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, or MongoDB. For the data scientists, they need to collecting, cleaning, and pre-processing a large and complex data set. They also need to building and deploying a statistical and machine learning model. They also need to analyzing and interpreting the result of this model to help. It is also to help the stakeholder to understand much clearer, and they need to communicating about the insight and findings to stakeholders and other teams so that they know about the findings that the data scientists have find through the statistical and machine learning models. So for the skills, they just need a strong knowledge of statistic and machine learning techniques, strong ability to work with big data technologies such as Hadoop and Hadoop, I think. And they also need to experience with data visualization tools such as W, Gplot2 or Matplotlib. They also need an understanding of database design and management and SQL. For the last role that needed in For the last role that need in this project is system designer. The responsibility for the system designer is they need to design the system architect and components. They also need to create a detailed technical specification and design documentation. They also need to identify and address potential scalability and performance issues. They also need to testing and debugging the system to ensure it meets requirement and is free from errors. And the skills that needed for system designer, which is knowledge of software development, methodologies, and best practice, strong understanding of computer system, software, and hardware, experience with different architecture patterns, and also finally familiarity with cloud computing platforms such as AWS, Azure, and GCP.
Lastly, the implementation and project closure plan. So this project will focus on improving the efficiency and functionality of the smart home math learning system. So extensive testing is needed to make sure the system is free of flaws after the new upgrades. The project manager is responsible for ensuring that the team detects and solves the problems, and also for making sure the system meets the specification. The goal is to make sure the system runs smoothly and provides a good user experience. The closing phase is an important part of the project where we evaluate the project success or failure. So this is necessary for future project planning and execution. During this phase, our team will close the project by submitting reports to internal team members and stakeholders. So this phase can happen even if the project has not been successful. Move on to the product design. So we have sketched the storyboard for the smart home math learning system. First, the official website of home. As you can see on the left side, that is the official website. And the right side is the new design, but we have added the button e-learn to navigate it to their new system, which is smart home math learning system that we have designed. Next, this is the login and registration page. For the login page, the user can choose button between student or staff, and this is to indicate who they choose to log in as. And as usual, for the login page, there's an input text field and sign in button. And for the registration page, there's an input text field and sign out button. And there is a radio button to choose whether they are registered as student or staff. Next, the account page. For the account page, the navigation button for account is on the top of right beside the notification button. In this page, we will have the user basic info such as name, number phone, email address, and so on. Also, the user can edit the profile picture and all the info with provided button at the top right corner of the container. Next is the home page for the system. As we can see, we have the navigation pin button to navigate through the pages. And the difference between student and staff, that is the staff navigation pin, have an extra button called class. Also, you can see the view of navigation bar button if it's on click. So for the homepage, we have a container to read about the class for student, and the edit button only for staff to change anything about the class. Second button in the navigation pane is the announcement page. In this page, staff can create and post announcement if they have anything to announce about the class or work. And student will receive list of announcement and can view the announcement. For the class content page, this is where all the content of work can be stored. As we can see, we have the search bar to search the content, and in this page we have a list of content and only staff have a button to create new content. This is the view in the one of the list of content. So we can store documents in the files such as slides or video. For the assessment page, it has the list of incomplete assessment or upcoming assessment and the list of assessment for student page. And the staff is able to create assessment with provided button in the staff page. Next is the discussion page. This page allows us to discuss and chat in the system with our class members or staff. For the online class page, student will have online class schedule consists class name, start and end time, platform that they will use, and so on. And staff will be able to create new lists and edit the list with provided button for online class. Last but not least, the class page only for staff. It has list of students that they can edit, salary calculator so that they can calculate their own salary, and in this page, admin of the home will provide the staff attendance. This is our deliverables and milestone. That's all from us. Thank you.